Okay, joining us now without further ado in the 603, the governor of New Hampshire, Republican Governor Chris Sununu. Governor Sununu, great to have you with us, sir.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me on. Pretty exciting week up here in New Hampshire. Hope you're enjoying your time north of the Mason-Dixon.
Sir, I am, and we'll be at Dixville Notch Monday night. The Democratic debate tonight. We'll be at the rally on Monday in Manchester at the Red Arrow Diner is one of the places we're going to be. There's another diner, too. I forget it. But let me set the stage where we are, Governor. We're in Windham, Corey Lewandowski's hometown. We are at A.J. Letizio's Enterprises, his studio he set up for us here. And also with us is everybody you know. Let's just introduce them fast, Governor. You're going to be fired up with the panel we've got. We've got Councilman from Windham, Cousin Brucey Benton with us, Representative Fred Doucette, Representative Al Baldessero, and former State Senator Frank Saporetto, as well as Al Letizio. Is this the all-time panel, Governor, for the 603?
Wow. I got to tell you, I mean, I thought these Democrat presidential candidates were a circus. You got a clown car sitting in your studio right there, my friend. That is quite a crew. That is quite a crew. All great people. You're sitting beside some pretty diehard 603ers right there. So you put it together right.
Well, thank you very much, Governor. Hey, let's get to politics, and then we'll get to some policy. I want to start with your re-election campaign. Fred Doucette had a great line. He said, New Hampshire is one Governor Sununu away from Massachusetts. I thought that was a great line. What are your re-election prospects? How does it look in 2020?
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't want to. I appreciate the thought. I mean, I don't want to be the last backstop from doing it like everybody else, because look, all the other states around the Northeast, especially New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, right? They're losing businesses, they're losing population, and they're coming here. They're coming here because a lot of the folks you're sitting right next to worked in that legislature and carefully designed a model that lets the individual businesses, families, kids, they design their own path. And that's what people want, right? They don't, the days of, we're just going to pump money into a big government system that will solve all your problems. That thinking is so backwards, and what we do here in New Hampshire is just the opposite. We empower the individual. And so, I appreciate the thought, but it really is a team effort that got us here. I'm kind of holding the line a little bit, keeping New Hampshire. And really when it comes down to the campaign, I'm not thinking about that too much yet. The more you think about politics, I'm one of the only two governors in the country that has to get elected every 2 years. It'd be very easy for me to say, well, as soon as I got elected, I got to start running again. But the more you let politics come into play, that's a variable that usually messes things up. So I try my best to put that way off as long as we possibly can, get all these great successes, which the folks you're sitting next to, a big part of that team, big part of those successes, and then you run on those successes when the time comes. So, and that's it. I mean, and so there you go. There's the philosophy of how to keep New Hampshire, and I think why we're going to be very successful getting the legislature back 2020, and hopefully holding my seat as well.
Governor, can Trump win New Hampshire in 2020?
Of course. Absolutely. I mean, the Democrats just keep driving themselves further and further down this socialist rabbit hole. God bless them. Good luck. But that ain't New Hampshire. So I think he's going to win New Hampshire. I think he's going to win the country. Does he win? I mean, people are wondering, what is the margin going to be? That's where the discussion has now come. Does he win barely, or does he win in a landslide? But that's really the level of discussion, especially after the theatrics you've seen down in Washington, D.C. So we're excited to have him up here. He's going to be here in a few days. New Hampshire rallies around him. 12,000 people fit in that arena. 20,000 showed up last time he was here, and they had a ball. 10,000 people in the streets having a ball, so excited with the energy that he brings. So that's going to become more and more repeated as we get closer to November. The energy's going to build. The Democrats are going to keep going down the rabbit hole. That's a win in 2020.
Well, Governor, we're looking forward to that. We'll certainly be covering the rally. We'll be there on Monday night. I want to ask you something because we have a national audience. The representatives in the 603, by the way, Cousin Brucey here, Breton, Selectman from Windham. How do you run a government without an income tax and without a sales tax? Like, I'm from Virginia. We have a 7% sales tax. We have an income tax. How do you run a government without a sales tax and an income tax? How do you do that, New Hampshire?
How do you do it? Yeah, you do it the right way, right? So sometimes it takes leadership in the House and the Senate and the governor to say, look, it's not about us, right? We believe in the individual. We send money back to cities and towns. We have a lot of our the few taxes we have in this state overall. We usually lie on our property tax. But guess what? You can really have a lot of say in how your property tax dollars are spent. And that's where the bulk of education spending comes from. That's where the bulk of our the local roads and bridges and money comes from. And so you have a huge say as an individual over how things are being spent. And that provides an awesome checks and balance on the system. So it makes the system very efficient. I mean, the state has to be there for some of the bigger issues, mental health, the opioid crisis, managing the massive Medicaid and Medicare programs that come out of Washington. There's a good function purpose there in our major highways. We're very proud of our roads up here. Even through last night, as you know, we took an ice storm and we just keep on chugging. We do it very well. But at the end of the day, when you focus on the individual, a lot of efficiencies come out of that. You don't need the money. We don't have revenue problems here in this state. In fact, we had the biggest surpluses we've ever had in the last session, thanks to a lot of the gentlemen you're sitting next to. So, when you're smart about how you spend it, you can save a little, and then you send those checks back to cities and towns. People love it, and you let them make the decisions at the localized level. Other states, they call us and they say, "How do you do it? How do you do it?" Believe in the individual. Ignore politics. Ignore your own personal ambition for the next election. Believe in individuals, individual towns and cities. Let them make the best decisions for themselves.
All right, Governor, I tell you what, you should basically have a training video for other states on how to run a government without a sales or an income tax, because everybody else is getting hammered. Go ahead, Fred.
No, and just to add, good to hear you this morning, Governor. Just to add, we have the third largest parliamentary body on the face of the planet in our New Hampshire House, 400 members, and they are volunteers. We get paid a $100 bill a year. That's a way to keep your belt tight, to live within your means, and it brings out people that actually have some skin in the game. They're there for the right reasons.
So all you guys get paid is $100.
$100.
Right. House or Senate.
And you have House or Senate, you get paid $100. So
it's not about the money.
And we
It's
have to
a
buy our own
citizen
plates, too.
volunteer job you got to run, and you have what? How many House members? Like 400.
Correct.
So you're representing very small areas, right?
Right. We have a very small Senate, though, 24 senators. So
Right.
a large House and a very small Senate.
Right.
And I think the governor hit the nail on the head. We are the party of the individual. We are the state of the individual rights. That's how we differ from Massachusetts. Massachusetts is all about group rights, seat belts, helmets. The government's going to take care of you and tell you how to be safe and tell you what to do, what to eat. We don't believe in that here in New Hampshire, and the governor exemplifies that.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. I'm your Godzilla of the truth. We're live in Windham today in New Hampshire. We'll be here all week on our mobile radio bus following the campaigns. Governor, let's get to the Democratic side. Big debate tonight. Mayor Pete got a little bounce out of the Iowa debacle, claiming victory where he didn't win. Not a bad political ploy. Who do you see winning New Hampshire on the Dem side, sir?
I'm not sure. I think, look, Pete and Mayor Pete and Bernie have been doing well here for a while. Iowa was typical of the Democrats, right? It's like everyone needed a participation trophy, right? So they all got one, So it was just, I really feel bad because I don't like to pick on Iowa, but the Democrat Party there in particular, just with the app, and they tried to put in all this confounded technology, and they forgot about the basic integral one person, one vote, backed up by a paper ballot. We were the first state in the country back in 1991 to say, everyone has to vote on a paper ballot. There has to be redundancy. It has to be there, physical. You can't hack a pen, right? And so by doing that, we've created this incredibly high voter participation. The reason that's important is because anybody can win. And that's why, to the national audience, people might say, why do you guys have the first in the nation primary? Why should you have it? Because we've earned it, right? When you have such high voter participation in a very purple state, you get incredibly high engagement. And again, it's not about, well, I agree with that policy and that policy first. You got to look the candidates in the eye here in New Hampshire. They have to look you in the eye. And you got to buy off on them as a person. And after we get past that, then we'll talk about policy. But that's the litmus test that New Hampshire has that most other states don't. And that's why anybody can surge at the end. 30% of the voters are making their mind up literally right now in this last week. Biden didn't do as well as I think as a lot of people thought. I think he's still going to do very well down in the South. I think Pete Buttigieg is not going to do very well down in the South. Neither is Bernie. So there's still a lot to be played here. At the end of the day, it could be Bernie or Pete. It's not going to be Elizabeth Warren. She's just too much of a phony. People see that when they beat her. What the real fun of this election is going to come down to is the WWE style battle you see on the floor of the Democrat convention this summer. It is going to be ugly and bloody. They don't know how to cooperate with one another. It's the Democrats seem to be the party of me lately, right? It's all about the individual. Do what I want 100% of the time, or I'm not going to be with you. They get angry about it. That's really where it's going to get very spicy, so to say. But we're very proud of what we do here in terms of the litmus test, and in terms of that voter engagement. If other people can, there are other states out there that can match our metrics. We'll talk about it. But let me tell you, we just do it better than everyone else, and we don't have shenanigans in our system. I think you're going to see also Tulsi Gabbard surge a little bit towards the end here. Maybe Klobuchar pick up some of those Biden votes. So they'll do pretty well. But you're going to have maybe Bernie and Pete in the top two, and then 4 or 5 following behind in the low teens, high single digits.
Governor Chris Sununu with us. Governor, tell us about the Bloomberg campaign. I had former mayor of Philadelphia, Michael Nutter, on my show. Well, they're going to drop another money bomb, right? I mean, they're going to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I had Michael Nutter on, former mayor of Philadelphia. He's Bloomberg's national campaign chairman. They expect to win a bunch of states and delegates on Super Tuesday, set themselves up for Bloomberg v. Bernie, and he's spending billions of dollars. He'll spend whatever it takes in order to win. How big of a threat do you think to Trump is Bloomberg if he indeed is the nominee, Governor?
Not nearly as big as he thinks he is. Michael Bloomberg epitomizes everything that people don't like about politics, which is, I'll spend money and buy my way in. Who wants that? What Democrats are going to really resonate with the message, don't worry, I have billions, I can relate to you? Right? Don't worry, I have billions, and so I'll solve income inequality, which is one of the social justice issues of the Democrats. Nobody's buying into that. I mean, the old white guy who's billionaire who's preaching about social injustices just doesn't. Parent literally bragging about buying his way into the White House. So no, I don't think there's. I mean, if the Democrats fall for that, I mean they're suckers to the 10th degree. And when it comes to, if he were to get the nomination and get to the general election, America's not going to buy into that at all. So I mean, I'm not worried about that. I think it just adds to the circus.
You've also got a law in New Hampshire that says you're going to be the first primary no matter what. It's a state law. So if Iowa says, well, the caucuses didn't work because basically we couldn't organize a 3-car funeral, and we also want to run the government, by the way. If they change it to a primary in lieu of a caucus, it doesn't matter, right? Because you'll be number one no matter what. Is that the way it works, sir?
Iowa's got their own problems. I don't know where Iowa's going to end up in this mix. Our law says we have to be first, and again, it's not because of tradition. It's because we've earned it, because we set a bar and a standard for everyone else to kind of live up to, and so we take that very, very seriously. We take that responsibility very seriously. We've been doing it 100 years. We've been 100% reliable 100% of the time, and so that's exactly why we've earned that right to be first. But our law does protect it as well. You have gotten situations where certain states tried to jump ahead, and then we just move ours ahead. But I think most states understand if you really can't match our metrics and our ability here to campaign at a very grassroots level. You don't need the balloon. You know why Michael Bloomberg isn't here? Because we don't do so well with people that come in with lots of money, that are showy, with big name ID. That isn't what New Hampshire's about, and that's why we're such a great equalizer, and why I think the rest of the country appreciates that level of reliability we bring and the integrity we bring to the table as the first in the nation.
Governor, let's go to your U.S. Senate race against Democrat one-term incumbent Gene Shaheen, Corey Lewandowski, who a lot of us thought was going to get in the race. He's been on my show 150 times, comes on every week. We were disappointed that he didn't get in. I thought he was the big name to raise the money to be competitive. Now what?
Well, we have some other candidates, and Jean Shaheen she doesn't do herself any favors. Ask someone in New Hampshire to name 4 things Jean Shaheen has done in the last 8 years or 12 years, whatever it's been since she's been there. I mean, give me a few things in terms of leadership. This is the problem with Senate and the Congress. Let me tell you the big problem and why senators and congressmen just don't have leadership credentials. Because at the end of the day, what do they really do? They vote up and down on funding. They vote up and down on a policy. and then they're kind of done, right? They don't innovate. They don't design systems. They don't look for accountability. They don't have management experience. They don't have to hire people. They don't have to manage budgets. They don't have to do any of that like governors or mayors or things like that. So at the end of the day, they always have trouble, even in their own reelection sometimes, being able to show leadership, why they should be reelected. And when you look at a state like New Hampshire that's getting so much done, leading the charge, really, where's Shaheen in any of that? So we have a couple really, really great candidates that are running. We have some war veterans. We have some heroes. We have folks that just love their state, love their country, don't care about the politics, want to get the job done and put the 603 first. And those are the candidates that are going to really shine, not just through their primary, but come into the general election. And then you're going to have Trump do very well here. I think I'm going to do well. We're going to win the House and Senate back. This isn't just pie in the sky thinking. This is actually what's going to happen. And so I don't care how much money Gene Shaheen has. It's not going to play very well here because at the end of the day, again, you still have to look your constituents in the eye and say what you've done. You've been there for 12 years. Have you earned yet another term? Are you kidding me? No, of course not. So it's going to be a tough one for her to try to have other good options like the Republicans do right now. I think we're very successful.
Governor, are you going to be backing anybody in the New Hampshire Republican Senate primary, sir?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not adverse to it. I mean, I think these candidates still have a lot of work to do. I mean, I know them all very, very well. I know them all personally. They're all great individuals. But you got to see kind of who's moving, see where some of their platform issues shake out, just like all the other. I mean, I treat that not as a governor, but just as a constituent, right? They're representing me too, just as a citizen. So, like anybody else, I'll kind of take my time. I haven't backed anybody yet, but it's possible.
All right, final thing, Governor. We're going to, my radio show is going to Dixville Notch on Monday at midnight. We get there about 9 p.m. We're all set up with the media there. I've never been there. Been in New Hampshire doing this a lot, but never been to Dixville Notch. Just give me the lay of the land there. What can we expect, sir? Midnight.
It's a scene, man. It really is. So I've been up there for my elections. When I was up there, I think I won 6-2. So I was very, very happy to win it. To find out at 12:01, I had won my first gubernatorial race 6-2. I think there's 4 or 5 people, maybe even 6 people voting this year. I'm not 100% sure of the final number. It's great, and again, that is more of a wonderful tradition. There's actually 3 towns that do it at midnight. People don't realize, but Dixville's the one that's really kind of gotten the notoriety over the years. So it's great. I mean, definitely stop over in Colebrook. Stop over. I mean, if you really have the time, go up north to the Mooseneck Cafe and some of those places up there. There's great people up there. That's the heart of New Hampshire. It's at the northern tip. But it's still, when it comes to the spirit and what New Hampshire is about, that's what it is, and that's why Dixville and some of those northern towns in Coas, you cannot forget them. You got to work them. They really represent the lifeblood of the state.
All right, Governor. Well, we're looking forward to that. Governor Chris Sununu, New Hampshire, up for re-election in 2020, looking very good. Trump looks good in the state. Big rally on Monday. We'll be at the Democratic debate tonight. Al?
Hey,
I got about a minute.
Governor Al Letizio here. I wanted to say that the governor was here for our grand opening and gave a tremendous speech. You know, we love the governor here in this town, and we've known him for a long time. And big contrast to when President Obama drove by our place and reminded everybody how we did not build our business, that someone else did. But when Governor Sununu was here, he reminded everyone how in New Hampshire we empower people to get ahead. And he's been a tremendous governor and a great friend.
All right,
thank you,
Governor
and
Chris
really to everybody in that room. These guys do a great job. Thank you, John. Anytime, all right, buddy? Enjoy your week up here.
All right, Governor, thank you, and thank you for having us in your state in the 603 in the Granite State. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. I'm your Godzilla of the truth, your Oracle of the deplorables.